been searching for the best of the best grooming tools for my horses. I love to groom my horses. And even though this probably isn't necessarily the best thing for manes and tails, I still like to groom my horses a lot. And you know, there are so many different types of hairbrushes and mane brushes and tail combs that are available. It's hard to know what is the best one to use on your horse. And I recently found a really cool mane and tail brush from a company named BioMane. Have you heard of them? Well, I'm going to tell you everything I can about this brush right now. Hello, my equestrian friends. It's me, Lisa, the budget equestrian, and Timon. Welcome back to a new video. And I've really wanted to make this video for a while, especially, my friend Linda and I, we have been going to the Colorado Horse Park all summer long, watching the A-rated hunter jumper shows that they have there every single summer. And the one thing that I noticed this past summer, actually I've noticed it before, but I really paid attention this summer, was how beautiful the jumpers' tails were. And I mean, yes, all of the horses that were there had beautiful manes and tails, but the show jumpers, holy cow, their tails were just so perfect. They were super full, banged across the bottom, and just beautiful. And it got me thinking, how could I achieve that look for my own horse? Because I want him to have a beautiful mane and tail too, even though he's not a show jumper. So I became obsessed with trying to find grooming secrets and different things that horse show grooms do in order to get the tails that beautiful, that full, that thick, and I was just not having any luck. And then I remembered that I had heard of a company called BioMane, and they actually have a detangler, and I bought that. And I wish you could see Puma right now. He's very curious of what's going on over here. He's not involved in. But I bought the product, their detangler, and it works really well. And I was remembering, I was like, I think they have a hairbrush too for manes and tails. So I went back to their website, and yes, they have a mane and tail brush. They also have a YouTube channel, and they have lots of different videos that show you how to get the best mane and tail for your horse. So I dove deep into all of the videos that they have talking about mane and tail care. Now, this hairbrush, the BioMane Mane and Tail Brush, was actually designed by the people that bring us the BioMane products. Now, I've only used the detangler. I haven't used the supplements that they have. I figure my horses have enough supplements. I'm just looking for a mane and tail brush. That's it. And honestly, when I saw this brush, it was pretty cool. It's really unique in the fact that the type of bristles that it has and how many bristles it has. Now, the brush itself, I really like the handle of it. It has like a non-slip cover over top of the handle. And I guess you could say that the handle is ergonomically formed. It makes it really easy to hold when you're actually brushing a mane or a tail and keep control of the brush. When I've used brushes in the past, probably more than once, I've actually dropped the brushes to the ground. But for the length of time that I've been using the BioMane brush, I have never dropped it. So that's pretty cool. Now I say that, and the next time I use it, I'm probably going to drop it when I'm doing his mane. Hope not. Okay, so back to the brush. So the brush has a very comfortable handle. It has a very lightweight body, and the bristle pattern is pretty cool. And I don't know if a hairbrush can be balanced, but it really feels like this mane and tail brush is balanced in my hand when I'm using it on my horse's mane and tail. So the bristles themselves, they're kind of a medium stiff nylon bristle. And the benefit of this medium stiff bristle is it has some flex to it, so it's not going to rip out these very, very precious hairs. Because when your horse is growing hair, obviously it grows from the top down, to the length. But if you have a knot in a portion of your horse's mane, say here, and you're brushing from the top and you pull that out, you've pulled out like that much hair. So we could potentially lose like that much hair. And that is not a good thing, because for a hair on a tail, I'm not quite sure of a mane, but to get it to be the length of your horse's tail, it takes like 2 years. So the tails grow very slowly, just like our hair. We always want our hair to get longer. Well, at least a lot of women do, sometimes men too. But when you're wanting your hair to grow, it just never seems like it's going to grow fast enough. Same thing with your horse's mane and tail. Now, Timon is blessed with a very thick mane and tail. His mane is, I mean, it's glorious. It's very beautiful. His tail is pretty thick too. But I have noticed since I brought them home that their manes and tails, Pumbaa as well, were actually getting a little bit thinner. And I believe that's because I was brushing it wrong. I was, always not necessarily in a hurry, but kind of. So I would brush from the top versus starting from the bottom. And that's one thing that I did learn from the BioMane's website is how to brush a mane correctly. So let me share with you what I've learned. Now, to brush a horse's mane, there are some steps that you really need to follow. So first, you're going to work through the horse's mane or the tail, if you're brushing their tail, using your hands. So before you even pick up a brush, you should really be brushing through your horse's mane and tail with your hands, because this is going to prevent any of that breakage. You're kind of working through any of those tangles that may start to form. And it's easier to work out snarls and tangles with your fingers than, say, to use the brush, because then you could potentially rip out his hair with the brush. So once you have combed through all of his mane with your fingers, the next step is you're going to spray on a detangler. Now, the detangler that I'm using, it's kind of a homemade concoction. So I have some of the BioMane detangler in it. I also have a little bit of a shine spray, and I think I have some water in it too, because I want it kind of liquidy. And I have it in a fine mist sprayer, because I find that the fine mist sprayer, it actually disperses the detangler throughout my horse's hair a lot better than just, say, a regular sprayer. I really like the way that it sprays, because I'm not going to get one area too saturated with the product. So I can actually just kind of use my hands while I'm spraying the detangler throughout their mane. You want to make sure that the detangler is coating all of the hair. Like I said, you don't want it saturated to where it's soaking with the detangler, but you do want to make sure all of their mane or tail is coated with the detangler. Now, once you've done that part, this is where you can get out your brush. So I'm going to be using the BioMane brush because I want to show you guys how awesome this brush works. Ooh, there's a bee. Timon, you're supposed to save me from the bee. But I want to show you how great this brush is. I've been really happy with it. So when you start brushing your horse's mane, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're starting at the end of the hair. And I like to start at the end of his mane as well. So I start the part furthest away from his head, and you're starting at the ends of your horse's mane. And the reason you're doing that is because you're going to work your way up in small sections. And once you've gotten through that section and there's no tangles, you can just keep working your way up in 6-inch increments to get to the base and where the hair grows out. And once you have one section done, then you can move on to the next section. And you're going to work your way from the bottom, or where his withers are, up to the top. So where his forelock is. And speaking of forelocks, you'll do the same process with the forelock, but I'm not quite done yet. So now we have brushed out one section. So now we're going to just keep working our way up his mane until we get to the front closest to his head. Now, one thing you'll probably notice is the closer you get to your horse's head, the thicker the mane is going to be. So you may want to section that off in half, so you're only having to deal with 1/2 of that amount of hair. Then there's less risk for potential snarls or tangles. So you can work 1/2, then drop the upper half, and then you can work through that. Then work through all of it together. And if your horse has a really super thick mane, you'll also want to make sure that you're brushing it from the underside, because a lot of times that is where the tangles like to hide. You can have a nice, perfectly smooth mane on the top, that then the underside could be a knotty mess because it's so thick you can't get down there. Those steps actually are the same for the forelock as well as your horse's tail. And I think you can actually really see the results. I've only been using this brush for about a week, and I'm very impressed with the results. His mane is a lot less tangled, and it actually stays that way. I've been brushing it probably every other day. I know a lot of people say don't brush your horse's mane or tail that much because it's going to get thinner, but I haven't really had too much hair loss, so I really enjoy brushing their manes and tails. Even Pumbaa, and I think Pumbaa really likes to have his mane and his tail brushed as well. And his tail is so long, it's actually dragging on the ground, which that could be a potential problem too. But both of my horses really enjoy the BioMane brush. I think it's a great brush. The only con that I can find to it is it is a little bit expensive, but it seems like anything horse related that is worth having is a little expensive. And I've had mane and tail brushes in the past that I've used them for maybe 6 months and spent $12 on them, and they break. So then I have to go out and spend another $12. So if you think of it that way, then the brushes that don't work as well actually cost more than the BioMane brush. Go figure. The people that make the BioMane products, they actually have a YouTube channel, and they even have a podcast, and it's pretty funny. It's called the BioMane Scoop, and it's actually good. It's like a podcast, but they're really entertaining to listen to. And I'm going to leave a link to their YouTube channel too, because I think you'll really find what they have to say informative and entertaining. But they also have lots of tips. They have other products that they offer. They talk about braiding manes for, like, I guess longevity. I'm not going to braid my horse's mane. I like it being natural. So I'm going to leave his mane down just like it is. But I think it's looking really good. I'm really, really proud with how his mane and tail are both looking. And like I said, again, Pumbaa as well. I'm really glad that I found this hairbrush, and I'm pretty excited to see in the next couple of months, especially as fall progresses into winter, and we'll see how well their manes and tails hold up. And it'll be really interesting to see next spring of what their manes and tails look like. That will be, I think, a true test. Having it probably 7 or 8 months, be pretty cool to see the results. So honestly, I'm really impressed with the BioMane hairbrush. Not only the brush, but the education I received as well of how to brush a mane and tail correctly. Let me know if that's how you've always brushed manes and tails. It's kind of interesting. I mean, it makes sense. I just didn't do it like that all of the time, but from now on, I will. And for now, I am going to go put my horses out for a bit, and we'll let you go check out the BioMane's website and the brush, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.